Profile share via email report story. It was clear why Nami still kept wearing the bracelet. It was clear why she approached him. It was clear why she never immediately rejected Luffy when he boldly stated how he felt. It was all so very clear. Clearer than glass. Luffy's weird acts of affection may have started off as a misunderstanding, but everything he's done surely meant something. Although Usopp phrased the definition weirdly, he never rejected the thought of Nami being his. He never ignored Usopp's words but kept it and did something with what he learned. There was a reason. Her heart wouldn't stop thumping. Beating more and more every millisecond. Her heart was going to explode at this rate. Her stomach felt uneasy, the popular phrase of feeling butterflies. Sweaty palms, nervous movement, constant tapping of the floorboard. His body refused to keep still. It's like his brain was acting on its own. It refused to listen to its inner thoughts. Luffy, her voice, the roaring voice that would scold him daily, kept him still. Yeah, wanna know what you're right about it? Nami asked, keeping her gaze at what's outside the crow's nest's window. She spotted Chopper waving at her while on Usopp's shoulders. Usopp covered his eyes to avoid her deadly stare. Sanji also waved but laid down on the floor in tears. She huffed and pushed herself and Luffy down on the floor so they wouldn't be seen. Luffy gave his full attention to her. Not anymore. His eyes showed disinterest. What? Looking down at her painted toenails, she frowned in worry. Seriously, that was the only way I would actually. Is he messing with me? Instead of sitting on the actual seats, they sat cross-legged on the floor. Not only were her legs crossed but her arms as well. Her eyebrows knitted together while her rage spewed in mutters. Fine. Suit yourself. Feeling crushed, she paced to the exit, her hand inches away from pushing the door open. But her waist was being pulled away from the door and another hand softly placed itself on her cheek. His touch made her shiver. She's been rescued by him plenty of times, but this touch was way different. His hands were so soft and gentle. It caught her off guard and distracted her from what she'd feel next, his lips grazing her ear. In a low whisper, he told, I kinda have a hint. On cue, her head spun around, she looked stumped. Grinning ear to ear, he wrapped both of his arms around her. Just like he did the first time he thought they were dating. He bumped his forehead on top of the navigator's hair. He felt very weird and wasn't sure what to do after that. After all, his actions right now was what Frankie instructed him to do. On top of catching Frankie and Robin whenever they were alone, whether reading a book or talking in the aquarium. He was like a toddler mimicking words, whatever he saw them do, he'd imitate with Nami. Uncertainty then upset the captain's stomach, but that all went away when he felt Nami's lips again. Turning her around, she now faced him, his left hand crept up to the back of her head and his right hand rested around her hip. Quietly giggling, Nami backed away and tucked all her hair behind her shoulders. Luffy couldn't help but note how pretty she is, so what are you right about? Luffy tilted his head and shrugged his shoulders. The meat lover got off of the ground then squished his face on the glass window to look for his comrades. He spotted Robin lightly swing back and forth with Chopper sitting on her lap. Lying on the grass was Frankie and Usopp, doing nothing but stare at the sky. He tried to catch their attention by waving his arms around and jumping. But Nami quickly stopped him by bonking his head. The captain rubbed his bump and glared at her. Who cares? I already know you like me. He still gazed the deck from up above and then an interesting notion struck him. His attention went straight back to his navigator who wore an irritated look. Wondering how he can pull her away without pissing her off even more, his mind replayed the scene he saw yesterday of a random woman holding her lover's hand while running into the crowd. Beaming a smile, his fingers intertwined with Nami's and he pulled her out of the crow's nest. He felt no resistance or refusal, and that left him satisfied. Landing on deck, he held his and Nami's hand and raised it up the air to shout, "Nami likes me. Nami really, really likes me." Running out of the kitchen, Sanji dashed to the deck and tackled Luffy. Nami dodged Sanji's fast figure before she was caught up into their mess. "Why, Cammy, why?" It was so hard to accept the fact that it'll happen. But the cook was too much in denial. "He's been experiencing the stages of grief for a few days now, my sweet ladies, they're now spoken for." Dramatically falling onto his knees, he admitted defeat. Blank, underscore, blank, how has everyone been? I came to the decision of writing more and more before the year ends. Motivation is too difficult to find, why no, but I'll push through. I had a hard time figuring out where to stop this chapter, and it resulted in the longest chapter I've made, about 6,400 words. This isn't the end, by the way. Much more is still happening. What's most important to say is that I'm so sorry for updating this long. It really shouldn't have taken me that much time, but I guess you can call that my hiatus. If you've been waiting for an update and find my story worthy to read, I appreciate you so much. You are all the best and I love you all. Also, how long do you prefer my chapters to be? 4,000 or 6,000 words? Please let me know. Thank you for taking the time to read my work. Goodbye. Where stories live, discover now.